Thank you everyone for joining us for, I was about to say Live Your Happy TV, but it's, what is it called? My head is fried. ACIM 365 with Maria and Christian. We're both here with you today. Today is our 3-year wedding anniversary, and today the lesson is there is no love but God's, lesson 127. So how appropriate, you know, that the lesson is there's no love but God's, and we're celebrating 3 years of the love that was created by God, in a sense, how we were brought together. And I have a surprise for Christian today. I'm going to be interviewing him today on the channel, on this video, because many of you don't know our story and how we met and what happened with Christian and how our relationship was by divine providence. You know, it was just, we were brought together really with the Spirit of God. And I feel that it's really aligned to this lesson today. And yeah, just let's do something different. And in the meantime, practice the lesson, do your meditation, but hopefully this message will inspire you to trust God more and to trust your heart. So we met at the Happy Dream Retreat in 2017 with Craig Villarubio. He had me there speaking, and Christian was doing behind the scenes camera work, and we had a little exchange there as friends, and then he asked to stay over at my house, and yeah,
well, that's kind of awkward story. I was going to the retreat to do some live streaming for Craig Villarubia, which some of you might know. He's also a Course in Miracles teacher, and Maria was one of the presenters, so that's where we met. And I was visiting the US because I'm German, and I was going to friends in Denver, so I needed a place to stay for 2-3 days after the retreat, until my flight to Denver left. So I was like, I'm gonna pick the coolest person on the retreat,
whoop whoop,
and ask to stay at their place, and let's see what happens. I'm totally open to, surprises. And so I asked Maria first, and she said, well, you gotta ask my roommate. And her roommate was there too at the retreat, so I asked her, and she was fine with it too. And
my roommate was, for the first time since she lived with me, leaving those days that Christian needed to stay in her room.
Yeah, that was really funny.
They're like David Hoffmeister would say, there's just signs and symbols everywhere, it's like so obvious that you had to stay with me, right?
And after the retreat, I went to Maria's house, we had dinner, and then we were practicing no private thoughts, no people pleasing. So just really being honest with ourselves and with each other of what we liked and what our preferences were, sharing our thoughts. And one thought in particular that I had after dinner was, I really wanted to sleep in Maria's bed, not in, the roommate's bed, I wanted to cuddle with her, and, I was like, well, it's kind of awkward to say that after dinner for the first night that you're having dinner there. And I said, well, gotta have no private thoughts, no people pleasing. You gotta have the balls. And so I was like, well, okay, let me just share. I said, Maria, I have a private thought, and that private thought is I want to cuddle with you and sleep in your bed tonight.
This is the first day. He never slept in my roommate's bed. And this is the first day he was at the house.
And then Maria was in the kitchen doing the dishes. She's like, haha, that's funny. I was thinking the same thing.
Yep.
And so that's how we kind of like connected more intimately, and just, started off our romantic relationship. And
but there was no sex involved, just so you guys know. At that point, we were just getting to know each other, you know.
And so that's how I started off. I flew out to Denver, and
he left after a few days.
Yeah, and I came back a week early to plan out a book tour with her, because it was the time that she was launching her book.
And he offered to
I was like, well, I'm gonna help you launch that book because I opened the book and in the introduction it said, there's nothing outside of you that can make you happy, not even this book. And I was like, that's epic. I want that message to be out there in the world. Why is nobody reading that book? 'Cause everybody else is just saying, oh, read my book, it's gonna change your life, I'm a transformational coach, whatever. And so I was like, wow, what a beautiful, humble message. And I wanted to help her spread that. So we planned a book tour, a 15-city in-person book tour across the United States. And so we planned that out. I flew back to Germany. We spent a month launching her book. I was creating social media graphics. I was, telling everybody
On fire.
to like that thing and to.
He was the genius behind the launch of Live Your Happy. And when it launched on Amazon, it launched #1 in 3 different categories. And it was huge. And I couldn't reach him because it was a time difference. So I was like, please look at Amazon, we're #1.
Yeah, I was sleeping.
He totally made it. He really contributed. It's like God brought him into my life to ignite the message. I had the message and then brought this beautiful soul to ignite the message, and then the message was given in such a profound way. I think other teachers were surprised at how on fire I was, but it was this one with all these graphics coming out of his culito. Yeah. And then he came back after a month. He was gone for a month. He came back for my book launch party. I had a book launch party, which was a big success as well.
Yeah, came back for that, and then shortly after we took off on the book tour. But before we took off on the book tour, we were like, okay, let's celebrate the digital launch of the book. And so we went to a restaurant in Topanga Canyon, which is an area northwest of Los Angeles.
And
it's more like
at this time we had
nature and beautiful setting.
And I wanted to make a point that we never went on a date. We hadn't gone on a date. We had been so busy with the book. It was like giving birth to our first child.
Yeah.
That we went on coffees. We went for coffees, but we were always working. So this was technically our first official date. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally. And so, yeah, we went out there and arrived at this place in at the 7th Day. Beautiful patio surrounded by nature and a little stream next to it. Just wonderful. Just like out here, so beautiful. You sit in nature, it's beautiful. And we sit down. Maria says, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, I gotta eat. I said, sure, go ahead. It's buffet anyways. So she got her first plate. She came back with her plate, loaded full of, broccoli, lobster,
so
tofu,
good.
cream cheese, all kinds of good stuff.
But wait, real quick, when I was getting the food, it felt like I was at a wedding reception because the buffet there is so... Because Spirit's always giving us signs, there was all these like symbols coming up for me, and when I was getting the food I was like, oh my god, I look like I'm like in a wedding buffet. It was chandeliers and the food is just, everything is just so beautifully orchestrated in there. So I just wanted to make that point that it was like the wedding bells were ringing.
Yeah, and then she comes back with her plate loaded full of, lobster and, broccoli salad, tofu cream cheese and all kinds of stuff. And she sits down, I grab her hand, and we speak a prayer, we express our gratitude of the food. I hold her hands, we both have our eyes closed, and I hear this voice that says, ask her. And inside I was like, what do you mean ask her? I'm 25, I don't want to marry, this is awkward, I'm not prepared, I don't have a ring, it's not very German, what are you talking about? And then again silence for like 5 seconds. And the voice said again, ask her. And I opened my eyes, I was like, well, it's just way too odd not to be true. There has to be some sort of ounce of truth about this. I fly to the US for this retreat, I meet this person, she writes a book, I help her launch a book, we plan this book tour.
And up to this point, he had said that he didn't know what would happen to the relationship. He always felt he was just gonna go and be with me, and most probably after book tour we would separate. This is just kind of like a temporary thing, was what he kept on saying. And I didn't feel that. I felt that we were deeply connected, but I also was at a space that I allowed him to be there and kind of find out for himself or discover for himself what the relationship would be. That I think also me letting go of that attachment and kind of just jumping in and like just having fun and creating with him allowed space for him to also recognize, or spirit to be able to move through him to be able to recognize what's really real here, you know, or what's the purpose of this whole shebang.
Yeah.
And then after he said that, what did I say?
Well, I didn't even say him what I said yet.
Oh, sorry.
So
I know, I was so excited.
So I asked her. I was like, okay, well, Maria, I just heard this voice and it asked me to ask you, so I'm asking you, do you want to be my wife?
Oh my God, I'm reliving it.
Wow. And she said, well, what about kids? That was her first response, because she really wanted to have a baby. Because, yeah, she was ready to bake.
I was ready to bake.
Ready to bake, she wanted a baby, and the baby came 3 months later.
Wait, but don't skip to that yet. Because
You're
I
pregnant.
said, what about a baby? And then he said to me, yeah, in a couple of years.
I
And
said like, yeah, 1, 2 years.
yeah, and I was like, nope. I said, you know, it was for me, it was a deal breaker already. It was for me is if I was going to be with him, which I wanted to be with him, the goal was to be with him and to, you know, develop an epic relationship with him and grow old together, or grow together. Was I wanted to have a child, and it was a very deep desire of mine, and I had given over to Spirit many times, and it just showed up in this beautiful way, and yeah, and I think he thought it was going to be like in 2 years, but I was very direct with him from the beginning that I wanted to be a mother in this lifetime.
Yep. And now it's exactly 3 years later. Today was the day, 3 years ago.
3 years ago, this very day, Christian and I got married in beautiful private ceremony with 3 or 4 people were there.
Yeah.
Just literally down the street from here. You know, it was the sunset was coming down, and just surrounded by trees, and it was beautiful. And most that I love about our relationship, and well, let me go back to the book tour. So we did the book tour, and then we got back in July. I went to go do this event with David Hoffmeister for his community. Christian stayed, and when I got back, July 2017, which is the same year I had met him, August 1st, we found out we were pregnant. You know, February 2017 we met, May 2017 we married, and July 2017 we were pregnant. And I'm so in awe that I just got all those numbers correct and those months correct and didn't say 2030. So cheers to us, you know, cheers to us and our courage to step into this holy union. You know, it's sometimes not easy, but I can say that he's very courageous. I'm very courageous to be able to be with each other and help each other and mirror to each other what still needs to be healed, and at the end not personalize it. You know, work our best on not personalizing it. So again, going back to the lesson, how it pertains to this is it's lesson 127. There is no love but God's. It's just a recognition that all the love that Christian could ever want, he has already. He can't get it from me. And all the love that I could ever want, I have it, and I can't get it from him. And that's what we're discovering more and more, not only in our relationship, but anything outside of us. My partner in shine.
Yep. I can't say a funny joke right now, but I'm not gonna say it. It's a very sarcastic joke, and that's why we're gonna break up today, because you don't need me. There you go. Okay, I said it.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
We're all, you know, we're all sovereign beings. We're all complete already. Nothing can take away from us, because we are the love that God is.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening, for sharing in our story. I felt it was a beautiful day since it's our anniversary to share the story. I feel it goes well with the lesson today. So happy practicing. Have a beautiful day filled with love and light. Until next time.
Choo-choo!